dissect exactly what's going on and figure out, what medication goes where. Just trying to, learn, the algorithm of what's going on. I spend a lot of time with it. I'm not a real smart guy. And what I mean by that is I was born with ADHD. My brain cannot retain information. I'm not some genetic freak when it comes to running, when it comes to lifting weights. I am absolutely power girl. And people will never believe it. And they can just, whatever, believe what you want to believe. So we asked me this question about what does studying look like. I have to go over the same page over and over and over and over again. While Jennifer can look at that page, while she's, quizzing me, she'll learn it right then. As she didn't know anything about it. She will quiz herself or quiz me and learn it as she's quizzing. It's the most frustrating thing in the world how my brain works. So what I do is I literally sit there with a pen and paper, and I have my books, and I go through and have to write everything down every single day. I will study the same page until it's photographic memory from writing the same thing down. And then from there, I'll go back through and relearn it again. So I'll learn the bulk of it, but then I'll go through and learn the small things in that. So if it's a medication, I'll learn what the medication does. I'll learn how to even say the medication. Because these medications aren't like albuterol. No, it's very big words. So I'll go through, learn how to say the name. Then I'll go through, learn what the dose is. Then I'll go through, and it's like every single day. It's not like, oh, I got it. Let's just go through. No, nothing is I got it. Every single thing. So I can't wait to get this conversation because everything I do in life, it sucks. Everything I do in life, it sucks. That's why when I was 300 pounds and 24 years old, it wasn't like I had some big epiphany of, let's just go be a Navy SEAL and let's lose some weight. No, I knew my entire life was going to be a struggle, which is why I just ignored it. And I said, I'm not even trying to jump off English and learn how to read, how to write, how to memorize, how to become something I am not. But through that process, something happened. And I realized this is why I feel sorry for no one. People are going to think that I am maybe lying or maybe fibbing or exaggerating. No, I was the lowest form on earth. No talent, no ability to learn, and I literally know what it is to be rock bottom and to build that up. So that question about learning, it's a pain in my ass. And I don't have to do it. Just think about it. I'm 49 years old and I'm a multi-millionaire. I don't have to do anything. So all I thought about when I was growing up was, man, I can't wait to one day get to the point where I no longer have to do this stuff. But what happened, I got older and it became a way of living. So how I do every day is how I do every day. It's a discipline, it's a regimen, it was a choice I made. And the choice I made was, what are you willing to sacrifice? And what are you willing to give up to find every bit of who you are to be? And I was going to give everything to it. So studying is no joke. How my mind is wired now is that everything I do is what I do. Because the focus it takes for me to, like right now, I'm running. I'm not like a great runner. I'm not like injury free. So like my first 20 minutes of the run, I'm limping. I'm literally limping because I've had several knee surgeries and my body was twisted. And so now it's untwisted. So when people look at, oh, he's limping, like limping when he runs. I am limping. My body's jacked up, so I'm focused on how to get the best out of a broken body. So everything I do is a total focus of what I'm doing at that point. But like when I was going through school, I'll never forget, I was in third grade. And back then, ADHD wasn't like, here's this medicine, or here's this thing. We're going to put you in a special school. So for me, I was so far behind that their big thing was, let's just put him in a special school because he'll never run. And through that process of like, I don't want to be in a special school. I don't want to be treated any differently. It really, like, I never took medication. Never took medication for this. That's why right now you see me looking right in your eyes. What the hell is you been saying right now? And that's why I don't feel bad for people who have ADHD, who have learning disabilities. And some aren't possible because you just can't. A lot of them you can. But people don't want to go through the process of focus, of teaching yourself how to truly focus. This is where my message gets lost. It gets lost because I may say, MF or F, I may because that's the passion that comes out of me because it takes everything for me to learn a sentence. So when I speak about David Goggins, I can't speak about David Goggins. It's just calm. Because when I wake up, I know the journey that it takes for me to find my greatness. And it's hard. Nothing just like, I wake up and I just do this, or I do that, or it just, I watch people every day go through life. It's so easy. For me to be where I'm at today, it takes every bit of me. So when I speak about it, and as I get going here, you'll start seeing me, the tempo will rise, the passion will come out, because I'm back there. I'm doing what I do every day to become a human being. And so nothing is easy. Like running is running. It sucks. But you have a choice to make. Do you want to sit down and go back to that guy you once were? No. So this is what it takes. It takes that misunderstanding of people, and they'll never get it because they'll never get the honest. So that is what it takes for me to do what I do. It may take me something different. So for me, everything has to be in the study. Everything has to be in this. Everything has to be everywhere I am. It has to be. Right? If I want to be great, I'm not trying to maximize money or maximize people knowing me. I do these things because maybe someone out there will understand me and get it and say, I can grow from this guy. And others just won't. The biggest misunderstanding about David Goggins of all time, it's like whether you believe in God or not, I do. He put this lab rat, which is me, on this planet. It's a living fuck the sea with a beat up, abused kid who can barely learn, who has a twisted body, messed up genetics, sickle cell, this and that. Let me give him everything that pretty much disqualifies you from the military. But back then, it wasn't extra. And let's put him in this and see what comes out. So to do that, friction, you don't wake up in the morning time and go to the coffee maker. Matter of fact, sometimes you don't even sleep. What it requires is when I'm at 2 o'clock in the morning, and my brain is thinking about a drug, and I gotta get up and look at my book to see if that drug is how I remember it. And this every day of life. That's why when I train a fighter or I train someone, I'm like, you have no idea how great you really are. Because you are using such minimal of what you have. And if people can learn to focus, this is what's possible. Wow, it may not be pretty, like people want to do a documentary on. I go, no. I don't want to do a documentary on. Because I will have normal, everyday people picking me apart on his life vision. Who wants to live like that? It's crazy how it's almost like he's sick, he's psychotic. The most frustrating thing in the world for me is when normal people judge a man like myself on what it really takes to extract greatness from nothing. It takes every bit of who you are if you choose that route. If you don't, Merry Christmas, do what you gotta do. It was pretty crazy for me. It took a while to get to that. Enough is enough. What happened is I came home one night from work and she ran for cockroaches. And long story short, I turned on the Discovery Channel, saw some guys going to the Navy SEAL training. And they're going through Hell Week and they're getting their ass just beat. In and out of the water, guys ringing the bell. There's some, I was weighing like 297 pounds. And I had to make a change in my life. I was at an all-time low, and I wasn't going anywhere, and I was exactly what everybody said I was going to be. Should have left. So I had to make a change. Well, for me, growing up, I came from a horrible background. I got caught every day of my life growing up, living in a small town. The Klan headquarters at that time was about 20 minutes from where I lived. One of the high ups in the KKK, son, sat behind me with 2 glasses, so he called me all the time. Got my first car, they spray painted, "We're gonna kill you" on it. So I was just an insecure, scared kid. And the only way I could find myself was to put myself through the worst thing possible. No one was helping me out. So my dad and my mom kind of earmarked. So she worked 3 jobs, went to college full time, so she was never around. One time this person drew a picture of me and, said, "We're gonna kill you, girl," on my Spanish notebook. And I took it to my principal. My principal said, "They still Nick." That was the best advice he can give. So long story short, what I realized was no one was here to help me. And the feeling I had every morning, I started shaking my head when I was 16 years old. And the feeling I had every morning, I looked in the mirror, was horrible. And I didn't want to feel like that anymore. And how I felt was a kid going nowhere, a kid that was scared. And most kids will accept that and look for help. But the best thing that happened to me, no one helped me. No one felt sorry for me. No one looked at me and said, like, this day and age, they'll take you in and they'll tell everybody, "Stop picking on this person." Back then, they didn't care. The KKK marched in their 4th of July parades. They had to stay 100 yards back, but they marched in it. That's how this town was. And my mom cared about me, but my dad took our soul. And she did the best she could. I had to figure out I wasn't going to be a punk kid all my life. So the way I could turn around was to suffer. I had to build calluses in my brain, the same way I built calluses on my hands. So I wrote the history of the a long time ago, but I failed at it twice. And I did 67,000 pull-ups in trying to break this record. To do 4,030 pull-ups, I had to do 67,000 for training. And so what I realized is for me to become the man I want to become, I saw myself as the biggest person God ever created. But I never blamed God for anything he did to me. So I wanted to change that to be the hardest man ever created. Am I that? I don't know, but you had to have a goal. And my goal when I was sitting there, not going to school, being bullied, having no self-esteem, my goal was the only person that's going to turn this person around is me. The only way I can turn around is put myself through the worst things possible a human being can ever endure. And that'd be the only way that I can build this brain to handle anything that comes in front of it. Callous in my mind, through pain and suffering. So we read a bunch of books nowadays. As humans, we want to find out how to be someone else. What we don't do, we don't go inside. So we can turn yourself inside out. Read the book that says, like we're writing a book every day of our lives. But we never read that book. So what I would challenge this young man or young woman to do is you have to look inside of yourself and see what you really want. What are you passionate about? We use these words and these little phrases of only the strong survive and all this other crap. They're all just words. I get so tired of hearing people just talking. Like right now, someone may think, "God is just talking." You don't know them. So when I speak from passion. I speak from experience. I speak from suffering. I want to tell this young man or woman that the only way I believe, this is just my experience in life, you're ever going to get to the other side of this journey is you have got to suffer to grow. To grow, you must suffer. And some people get it, some people won't. But they have to see what their journey is to start their journey. Some people live to be 100 years old. They have great lives. They have great kids. The kids go to college, all sorts of stuff. But somewhere in their life, there was a point where they had a decision to make. They can go left or right on this path. Left was the easy route. Right was the hard route. A lot of people take the easy route. And they had a good life that way, but the better life was going to the right side. And you may have 20 years of pain and suffering to get past it. But a lot of us die never truly starting the journey. And I would tell the young person, you gotta start your journey. It may suck, but it will come out the other side where it comes to. Every day, we're seeing who we are as people. When I was growing up, I lied for people to accept me because I didn't accept myself. So I would make up stories so that you would accept me into your world. I would, everything I did was for someone else to like. It wasn't until I was going to read my own book about how pathetic I was as a human being. I could blame my dad, I could blame the kids at school, I could blame having health issues, ADD, my mom not being around. Great mom, but she was doing her thing. I could blame a lot of people. And that's the book I was reading. And I put it off on everybody else. It wasn't until I said, you know what? For me to fix this, I gotta read what the hell, what the is wrong with David Goggins. Not blame anybody. Read my book. Say, okay, I'm afraid of my shadow. How can I overcome that? Go in the military, get your ass kicked. Do things you hate to do. Be uncomfortable every day of your life. Roger that. I'm the smartest kid in the world. Okay? It says, somebody say, oh, no, you're smart. No, don't say that to yourself. I said to myself, well, I'm dumb motherfucker. Okay, roger that. How do you get smarter? Educate yourself. So the things that we run from, we're running from the truth. The truth, man. So the only way I became successful was going towards the truth. As painful, as brutal as it is, it changed me. It allowed me to become, in my own right, who I am today. A human being is not so human. We have the ability to go in such a space. If you're going to suffer, and I mean suffer, your brain and your body, once connected together, you can do anything. And this 100 miles was the life-changing moment. I was out of it. I was in the worst pain of my entire life. I was, to me, on the brink of death. And I was able to chunk this 30 damn miles into small pieces. I was so driven. I'm not going to say motivated, because motivation's crap. Motivation comes and goes. When you're driven, whatever's in front of you will get destroyed. So I sat in this chair and I was so driven to succeed in this race. And at this time, everyone was breathing, thinking about the guys that died. I'm not going to lie to you, I wasn't. This became a personal thing. This became me against this race, me against the kids that call me against me. And it just became something that I took so violently personal. And I broke this thing down into small pieces. I said, okay, I gotta give you trust. I gotta be able to stand up before I can get off this curb, get off this chair, and be able to go 30 miles. So I went through all these small steps, and I was able to stand up. And then from standing up, I was literally walking around with my wife at the time. And she goes, you're not gonna make the time. She goes, you're walking like 30 seconds. I got to mile 81. And the second she said that, I'm not gonna make the time. I ran the last 19 miles, non-stop. Right now, you're gonna find greatness in yourself. You're not gonna find it by looking in a book, and by even hearing me. I may give you the spark, but you've got to go inside yourself to find it. And that means you gotta be quiet. Go in a room, stop talking, search your soul, search your mind, search your abilities, and you'll find it. But if you're not looking for it, you won't find it. So you gotta go start the journey. And the journey starts with you finding, why the hell am I here on this planet Earth? Why am I here? And if you don't know that, you will live the rest of your life searching, always asking the question, why? There's a big difference between 99% and 100. I always thought that I was giving 100%. I wasn't. I was only 1% from making money, from being where I want to be, from everything in life that I've ever dreamed of. But it's that 1% that's why it's so easy to be great nowadays. Because most people are weak. Basically, I made a decision about 3 years ago that I was a loser. I called myself a good loser. I don't feel way down. And that's how I felt a long time ago. And I made a decision to go all the way in. And a lot of us have this mindset of balance. It's important. We all have family, a lot of us have kids, a lot of us have wives, husbands, moms, dads, brothers, sisters, all that shit. But if you want to be part of that 1%, which I know all of you want to be, I'm sorry to say, you got to throw that balance in the wind. The only way you can do it is if you go all the way in and talk to your family and say, I'll be home, but not today. So the thing about it is, the unbalanced mind allows you to do everything at a level that most people expect. They look at you, they see you grinding and grinding and grinding and grinding. And while they are at this mediocre level, you slowly rise and rise and rise. I call it front loading. If a lot of you right now want to be the best, you front load your life. So then that family that you run balanced with, you bring them on board when you're 40, 50, and 60 and say, okay, now I'm home forever, then I'm making a ton of money. Or what the hell are you trying to do? So it's all about that mindset that you want to do. A lot of people come up here and talk to you about a lot of bullshit. They go home and they write to motivate you. Right now, I'm a 47-year-old smoke jumper out of British Columbia. I took 5 days off of jumping fires. I'm a retired man, got a ton of money, but it ain't fucking enough. I still must grind. Remember, there's zero finish line. Because once again, you all are here for a reason. And the thing about it, a lot of you, trust me, what I say, don't take it personal, because I don't want anybody in here besides this man. So if I say something, and it's not who you are, just ignore me. Don't come up to me after it's over and give me a life story about me. Hey man, you was wrong about me. I don't know who you are. I'm just talking in general fucking terms. But what I'm trying to say here is the reason why I did not succeed in the first 24 years of my life is because I had developed belief. And this isn't some after-school special Sesame Street shit. This shit comes, oh, believe in yourself. Yeah, believe in yourself. That ain't it. People think 100-mile races, 200-mile races, breaking the records. Why do a smoke jumper at 47 with all this smoke? The way I build belief, I have to be at that level because the darkness in which I came from. A lot of you came from a lot of different places and have zero belief. That is something you're not going to get from a book, and you're not going to get from some motivation speaker. I get it from hours and hours and days and decades of being in the grind. 22 minutes. So when my time comes, when I fail, and I fail, I go back to that big ass belief that I built for myself. And I know I was making. So whatever your belief is, how do you gain that belief? I gained mine by going into the damn dungeon. So whenever I need that, I go back to the belief jar, pull out that belief. So whatever you guys got to do that, that's a necessary thing to do. The big thing for me is we're all 1% away. And that's the one thing I didn't realize when I was younger coming up. I put everybody on a fucking pedestal because of how I came up. Oh, man, this person's smarter than me, blah, blah, blah. You guys know the whole story. But when I sat back and I failed out of the Air Force trying to be a pararescue, and I gained up to that weight, and I was some fat, 300-pound pest control guy spraying for cockroaches. This is what I came up with, only 1% away from true greatness. I'm sitting there, and I'm the same dude that I was that quit pararescue. And now I'm a 300-pound fat ass. And then 3 months later, I'm trying not to be a taxi. I lost 106 pounds. So what I came up with was there's a big difference between 99% and 100. I always thought that I was giving 100%. I wasn't. I was only 1% from making money, from having everything in life I've ever dreamed of. But it's that 1% that we sleep on. It's that 1% that we wake up in that morning and we're like, you know what? Not today. Maybe tomorrow. Well, guess what? That's why it's so easy to be great nowadays. Because most motherfuckers so weak. For real. And if all you do is when you are trying to hit that motherfucking snooze button all life, not morning, all life, just know this. All it takes is thinking about those weak motherfuckers who are taking it. And trust me, you will come up real fast. Like I said, it's easy to be great nowadays. Motherfuckers just weak. Very soft. Everybody says, man, you started this crazy shit. I don't know what the fuck you ever talked about. I started. But I didn't start anything. Let's say there's just one person dancing alone, doing some crazy, stupid dance. It's not the person that started that dance that is the hero. It's that second motherfucker that joins him. Because then everybody knows it's okay. So it wasn't really me. It was that second motherfucker following me on Instagram that started this shit. So it could be him, who knows? But see, that's the thing about it. So you guys right now are following his lead. That's how this starts. It's never the leader. It's always the first follower that starts all this shit. Everybody in this stadium has a savage mentality. It's a primal instinct, whether you believe it or not. We all have it. I'm trying to cover every mother's feeling in the world. Anybody thought I wasn't going to be somebody who's clever enough, like a dog. I got a little bulldog out there, and I can't feed that mother enough food. I'm thinking he will eat, she will eat until she's dead. That's me. I don't leave no scraps on the table for anyone to pick up. And that's the mentality that you must have if you want to be great. And the thing about greatness is this. The sad thing about it, most of us never even think about it. Because we don't believe it's even in our arena. We think greatness is Michael Jordan or Tom Brady or Serena Williams, whoever it is. People have a lot of money. And you have to put that in the Rolodex. Until you start to think that way, whatever you think about, trust me, it will become exactly what you are. I want to be the hardest motherfucker to live. Am I that? It doesn't matter. I don't care. That was my goal when I was a 3-pound piece of shit. I'm thinking, I'm not too far away from that motherfucker now. You know what? I grew up not that guy. Yeah, so a lot of people put a title on me. They want to, they see me now. 500. They see me now as the guy that with the shirt off, you 4,000, 30 pulls in 17 hours. You run 205 miles in 39 hours. Who do all this crazy shit? But what they don't understand is they don't understand the journey that it took me to get to this point. And what got me to this point was I was just the opposite of the day. I was that guy who ran away from absolutely everything that got in front of me. But not many people knew that. I had two people. Like the real me was like this, very scared, insecure, stuttering, got beat up by his dad, all this kind of stuff. And then I told this fake person that walked around like my shit didn't stink, you know. Yeah. So that's kind of how I did it. And I came across this time. I realized that I was lying to myself, lying to people. It's a long process. Right. My dad beat the shit out of me just growing up. I was the first black baby born in this hospital called Miller Fillmore in Buffalo, New York. My dad owned skating rinks, he owned bars, he ran prostitution from Canada to Buffalo, New York. My dad was a big time pimp, big time. And you feel bad about a person, big time hustler. He was American, you know, that movie, Denzel Washington. He was that, but not that bad. Right. You know, he wasn't that big. But that's what it reminds me of. He was that kind of guy. And beat the shit out of me, the shit out of my mom. There was an incident one time when my mom got knocked out on top of the stairs. They dragged me down the stairs by her hair. And at 6 years old, I'll never forget this. In my mind, I was always afraid. My whole life, I was afraid. I had this voice, this conscience, that would always be battling me, saying, hey, you got to get up and do something. I didn't want to do shit. You know, I was just afraid, but that voice forced me to get up And my dad, I tried to beat him up whenever I was 6, and I get my kid. So this went on for several years. And I have a big time learning disability, because my dad couldn't leave us go to school. So my dad is about the business, the skating rink and the bar. So the skating rink opened about 7 o'clock at night, and this is when the time I was able to walk. So about 4, 5, 6 years old, 8, 9, and I go to this skating rink at 7 o'clock at night, and I worked the skating rink until 10 at night. And then we would scrape to come off the floors, and we cleaned the whole skating rink up. And then my dad in the office, and my brother and myself would sleep in the office. My mom would go upstairs and work the bar until 3 o'clock in the morning. And then they cleaned the bar up. So after all that done with going to school, really happened. So when I went to school, I was all kind of, my learning disability. I had social anxiety. I was just a jack from the outside looking in. We lived in an all-white neighborhood, and then we would travel to the ghetto of Buffalo, New York, where the skater was at. So we worked around mostly blacks, and I lived around mostly whites. But no one knew what was going on in that house on 201 Paradise Road. It's crazy. But my mom got courage to finally leave him when I was about 8 years old. We moved to a small town in Brazil, Indiana, and that's when the real war started for me. I didn't want to get back in that damn water again. So the fear overcame me, and all my insecurities from my dad, from this small town, from everything started coming back. And even though no one knew how fucked I was, I created this other person that was tough. I lived with this shit all the time. So me not wanting to go back in that water, the doctor called me back. I'm about to get like a medical kick out of the military. So no put me to leave, they'll kick me out so I can have some pride. The doctor said, no, I can put you back in the training. And I was like, but after a week, I'm like, you know what, I missed 1 week. There's only 3 weeks left. There's a good chance, I can tough this shit out and go on. I went back to the CO and the commanding officer of the program, and the sergeant said, hey, you got to start on day 1 because you missed, that week of training. And I broke. I couldn't imagine going back through that again. So I made up a lie. And I said, man, the sickle cell thing's really scaring me. It was a water, but sickle cell. And I pretty much quit. Even though they gave me a medical, I quit. So from the age of 19 to the age of 22, I went to the job called Tag P, where you control fast movers behind enemy lines. Cool job, but there's no water. I was afraid of water, so I quit it. And I gained 125 pounds in that time frame. I went from 175 to almost 300. The 297 was my heaviest. And I started finding things that was comfortable. And the more things I found comfortable, the more uncomfortable my mind was. Because that voice I was telling you about, it always was there. I was trying to avoid that conscience. I wanted to be left alone from that conscience. Leave me alone. So I got out of the Air Force, and I started working for a job called Ecolab, where you spray for cockroaches at 24. And spraying at different steak and shakes, Red Lobster from 11 o'clock at night to 7 o'clock in the morning. And what changed, I came home and watched the Discovery Channel show, Class 224. I came home from a steak and shake, I sprayed it down last, eat a big old large 42-ounce shake, walk across the street and get a box of mini donuts from 7-Eleven. And I would drive home for 45 minutes. This big old fat guy who, I worked out, but I was fat. I didn't run, didn't PT, I just hit the gym. So I'm driving home, turn the TV on, and what comes on was Discovery Channel show, and that's where everything changed for me. I was taking a shower, I walked out with these guys, and I watched the show, and it made me reflect big time on the piece of shit that I am, and I'm exactly what people said I was going to be. I had built this callous mind, and I built it through suffering. I built it through downright this crushing myself. If it was raining outside, 3 o'clock before it was snowing, the first instinct is don't go out there and do shit. My instinct was, we gotta go out there. Anything that was horrible in my life that I would normally say no, that was inhumane to most people, I had to go do
600.
And I started callousing my mind at this point in my life. And I lost the weight. And I went back to recruiter. I got into that class, and I went through 3 Navy SEAL weeks in 1 year. Only guy to ever be in 3 weeks in 1 year, to my knowledge. The first one I didn't make it through, the next 2 I did. And I just I didn't stop it or from there. And I started realizing through this process that the front mind is what you created. And I started opening different doors that I didn't think were even there, that I didn't think even existed. And the more doors I opened up, the more I started realizing that my potential is damn near endless. And it changed my whole mindset. So I went from David Goggins and I created Goggins. And that journey is a priceless journey that is hard for me to explain to people because it sounds so quick and easy. Like I just lost this way and I went to 3 elements, I went to medical school, went to Delta Post, went to 12, whatever it is. It was brutal. It's a brutal journey. Every fucking day, everyone's well, are you happy? If anybody knows my life story, I'm trying to give you just a snippet of it. Right now today in front of Joe Rogan telling me my life. To get through where I became, to get through where I'm at now, there's nothing but pride I have for myself that I can't really show people. Because I have this face that they see like, are you happy? What's wrong with you? I'm driven. I'm obsessed. And that's what you see. So my first run, when I decided to lose the weight, I was, like I said, 297. I was about 32% body fat. And my idea was to run 4 miles for my first run. I didn't know how bad it's going to hurt me. I used to run before I was fat. And I was like, I can do this. I ran a quarter mile and walked home. I walked home and sat on my couch and cried. I went to my mom's house, who was about maybe 20 minutes down the road, and cried again in her couch saying, I can't fucking do this shit. I don't know what I'm going to do. I just got somebody pregnant. My life was just, I was making $1,000 a month. My rent was $810 a month. And my mom just kept coming with me. It kept, you're not good enough, man. This is for you, man. These guys are the best on planet Earth. You're not that. And what it was, and it's kind of funny, I was obsessed with Rocky. Rocky 1 in particular. And when I was a kid, I'd come every day and I'd watch this show, Rocky. And I would fast forward with the little VHS tapes to round 14. Round 14 beat up like nobody's business. Why? This song came on, right? So when I put the pull-up record, I listened to the song for 17 hours, 2 minutes and 13 seconds. And I'm able to visualize and dream like nobody's business. And I know that I can create a vision that many people can't. And I worked for it. So the vision I had was when Apollo Creed beat the shit out of Rocky, beat the shit out, and he kept fighting. He was a dumb fighter, couldn't read, couldn't write, just punchy, nothing about him. And Rocky beat the shit out of Apollo Creed. He's in the corner, and everybody was saying, just stay down. And him getting up, Apollo Creed raises his arms up and he turns around like he wouldn't fight. He turns around and sees this guy getting up. And it was the face of Apollo Creed that changed my life. The face of Apollo Creed. It was like, just by that mother getting up, not winning, just by him getting the Apollo Creed was his champ, his best. Rocky had taken his soul. Had literally taken his soul. His head goes down, he looks at him like, what the fuck are you? I wanted to be that, not Rocky. I want to be the guy that people look at. I don't care if you like me or didn't like. I don't care. But it said this motherfucker's gonna keep coming after whatever the is in front of him. I wanted that. I wanted that worse than anything in the world. So that is, I kept picturing me falling down and getting up. Every motherfucker called me Nick. I was down. Even myself. I wanted to feel something besides defeat. I wanted to just go the distance. And that going the distance pushed me to a point of where now I go way past the distance. I'll tell you this, I started really realizing that when I started overcoming myself, I started getting around these real alpha males, these hard men. And I always put people way above me when I was growing up. Like they had to have a lot more than me to get to where they're at. And a lot of them did. But once you get around the best of the best people, you can kind of start breaking them down and realizing, man, you're just as tough as me. Like we all have, but all you did was you hit it better. Your upbringing, your mom and dad, your society, the way you were raised, it hit it better than mine. You weren't the only black kid, or it was like 5 in a school. You know, I can't hide. going through lines. I was like, black, you can't hide. But I started realizing it's because I can't hide you. So it started giving me courage to watch people that we all have a story. We all have a jacked up life in one way or another. Some of us don't have the guts to talk about it. And that's where I found the guts to talk about mine. And I look at it as psychological warfare. And that's where I started learning that life is one big psychological warfare that you carry yourself. You carry yourself, man. The most important conversation I ever had is with myself. And the shit I was telling myself was so wrong, it was so misguided. And other people start to write that down like for you also. And it started to be what you say to yourself every single day. And I started creating a whole nother warfare, a whole nother battle started becoming. I was like, oh, hang on a second, guys. You have these tools. You have these tools. Your life was basically the perfect grounds for training for where you need to go in your life. All the beatings, all the bullying, all the, you going through learning disabilities, all the struggles. It was the absolute perfect training ground for you to go where you need to go. And that's how I started looking at my life versus woe is me, poopy pants, kicking rock down the mentality. It was not. God just hooked you right the fuck up. He hooked you right up, man, with the perfect place. You were training. So the first 18, 19, 20 years, you were training for this stuff, man. You have the advantage of everybody else versus my God. They're so above me. They came from a great family. Mom and dad love them. They didn't ever learn. They didn't struggle. No, man, your struggle is what made you who you are now. So I started flipping this into a whole different. I started being a master of what I was scared of. I was scared of my mind. And I became literally a master of that mind. And that's what from now on, it sets me apart from most people. I started diving into that. Well, I used to look at my life from a different vantage point. And when you're in all the muck, and you're just walking in muck and walking in muck and walking in muck, you don't see that if you look all to the left of the muck, there's a sidewalk, brother. Get off of it. You have your head down looking at this muck. Once I saw the sidewalk, off the sidewalk, I got a little break. And I got a different vantage point. And then from the sidewalk, I found a cliff. Then I found a mountain. I got way up high on top of my life and looked back down on it. I said, okay, I gotta figure this out, man. I'm getting man. I'm starting to lie. So when you have a messed up foundation, I started applying it on everything. I wanted people to like me. I wanted to be accepted in some society of life, some social society. I said, this is the right way. I messed up here, I messed up there, I messed up everywhere. And so I realized the worst that happened to me is I lost myself. I never had myself. I never found myself. I had no self-esteem. So I through working out and through learning, God, it took a lot to learn also. I started finding self-esteem. Once I found that, that's when doors started opening up. I started caring about people, that what they thought, being judged. Wow, if I say this, if I started right now, right in front of me, I stopped caring about that. And that's why life started really changing for me, slowly but surely.
That's such an important point when you're talking about the working out, because a lot of people, when they think about working out, they think of it as being a physical thing.
Right? No. I did it for mental.
Yeah.
People always say, my God, like, don't look at it like, I didn't care about losing weight. I didn't care about being the fastest person. I wasn't making the Olympics. I wasn't going to pros. I could barely read and write when I was a junior in high school. I wasn't going anywhere. I saw working out as a way for me to build calluses on my mind. I had to callous over the victim's mentality. So I watched these movies. I talked about Rocky last time I was here. I always equated training to mental toughness. Like, it always looked brutal. People waking up early and doing all these things that look horrible. I was like, wow, man, I gotta start doing that. Not to get better, bigger, stronger, but that is what's gonna build it. That looks uncomfortable. That looks brutal. And getting up early, I don't want to do that. So I had this long list of things I don't want to do. And through that, I found myself. I started getting like, wow, like, you guys aren't doing this in high school. You guys are getting up at 5 o'clock in the morning.
7:50, 44 minutes.
So I started seeing myself very differently than the average human being. I was like, hang on a second. I have something they don't have. And that's when I started to develop these things through working out. It was this great, never-ending work ethic. And through work ethic, I developed self-esteem. I watched a lot of movies, and I was really big into visualization. And I always equated working out to struggle. And I struggled my whole life, but I ran from it. So I started realizing that I got to start facing struggle, and I got to be mentally strong along for the struggle. So that's why I started coming up. I'm training for life. Mentally, I'm training for life. I'm not training for like, say, to lift 400 pounds. And I found out all along pretty much is that through discipline, self-discipline, through repetition, through tons of repetition, the same thing that you don't want to do. That's the key thing. Through repetition of things you don't want to do, you develop mental, like an armor for your mind. Start to armor your mind. I was like, okay, we suffer every day. True, we do. We do stuff that sucks every day. So then when the suck stuff comes, you're ready for it. And that's how I started coming up. I just started being very uncomfortable. Now it's like just a way of life, a whole life. And I mean, I don't know if people believe in God or what. I don't care what you believe in. There's been this limiting voice in my head. We don't have this voice. It's the Ryder Barn voice. And a lot of times that voice guides us into comfort. And my voice guided me to comfort a lot. But I had this other voice. I heard it my whole life saying, hey, motherfucker, what are you doing? No, man, we got to go over here. We got to go over to that rock pile, over the corner, where nobody's at. That's where victory's at. We're over in that corner. So this voice was giving me all these answers. Now, I was a real smart kid growing up, but I had this crazy voice in my head saying, over there is where the answers are. And I didn't listen to it because over there was pain. Over there was me being aware. Over there was me being accountable for all these things that went through my life. Even though people put them on me, it's now mine their own. And I didn't want to go there by myself, but I had to. And this voice was guiding me there. It's God, whatever you want to call it. But that's what it was in me. I was trying to find myself through a character. I was making different hairstyles and sagging my pants, and I was off. Man. I was a clown. I was a clown, and I was like, this is not what you're supposed to be in life, man. I always fix the things on the surface. So if you read it right, I want to read it right. I would always fix these things on the surface level. And so whenever something hard would like raise ugly head, I didn't have any kind of tools to handle it. Like, man, I thought I fixed this already, man. But no, I didn't go into the dungeon of my soul and say, okay, what is making you unfair? What is making you a weak man? What is making you afraid? And so that's why I kept on quitting and going back to start or not knowing how to get through hard times. And that's why I was telling people, I'm not a theorist. I didn't study, I didn't study the book. I really put myself in a fire repeatedly like a sword. You put a sword in the fire repeatedly. If you keep on doing that, you're going to get a nice sword. And you keep on beating it. You got to beat the shit out of it. And that's what I did. And I became that. I said, okay, you can't quit. You got to figure out why you are this pussy. Why are you this pussy, man? Which problem is here? So I kept on putting the sword back in the dead on fire, and I just beat it harder. And I beat it harder. Before I knew it, I started realizing, right, man, the brain is starting to get hard. The brain is starting to get hard. I'm not a theorist. I'm now a practitioner. I put it down. I dissected it while I was sitting there. You can't dissect anything in a normal environment. You can't dissect anything in 72-degree weather. You must put it in the freezer and freeze the life out of it. And then you dissect it. Dissect it when it's miserable. Dissect the brain when all it's thinking about is, I need to get out of here, man. I want to get out of the freezer. Open the door. And he said, nah, 5 more seconds, man. 5 more seconds in the freezer. And that's when you start to take that brain apart. And that's what all this stuff did to me. I kept on putting myself back into the freezer or the fire and beating the shit out of myself. Mentally and physically. Before I knew it, this is what happened. So when you go fucking hard, you grind
on the fire.
like everybody knows, 24 hours a day. But when I'm in the shower, it's a mental aid station. I don't think about shit. I don't think about people. I don't think about work. I don't think about running. I don't think about working out. Car, another mental aid station. Now, eating, mental aid station. So people eat and they work and all sorts of shit, man. I can grind hard because a lot of times I'm in mental aid stations. So many people, they need every 5K. I need to have a course in front of me. I need to have something in front of me for me to get my up and do some shit. And that used to be me. And nowadays, past 20-some years, I don't need purpose. And people miss out on this, man. The purpose, but we're all looking for this golden purpose. Is it this? Is it that? Is it making money? Is it my family? Motherfucker, the purpose is you. We forget that. Every fucking day I wake up, and I don't want to do something. I'm like, okay, man, do you want to be a bit today? Do you want to feel like a little bit? You want to walk around all day knowing that you could, but you didn't? So it's a form without purpose. You have to learn how to get up and do shit. You ain't got no fucking 5K, no 10K, nothing. Nothing exists. Your life fucking sucks. You're in the fucking country. But guess what? You're still going to get it. That time comes, because time is going to come. When that purpose is you'll be ready. But most of us aren't ready because we don't know how to do it without having the golden carrot in front of us. And so we don't, people think that my knees are bad for a lot of money. They're wrong. I wasn't born healthy. I wasn't born with some great body alignment, some great, I have sickle cell, I have all kind of shit. I have all kind of health issues. All kind of, so I had a choice to make. And the choice was, growing up, okay, this hurts, that hurts. We can just sit down and do nothing. Or we can see how far we can push the human body. So on that journey, as I started getting more and more into my mind, I started realizing that what I'm capable of doing, my mind got stronger. So the pain in my
You're at 900?
while it sucked, I didn't do it for so long. It was like it became a little more. Like, okay, it's hurt. Okay, stop. And I call myself, stop feeling sorry for yourself. But you sometimes have to go your feelings. My decision was to be the best person I could. And I basically, a lot of mornings I wake up and say, your feelings. And that doesn't mean like, don't take it literally, your feelings. But sometimes you have to go beyond what you feel. I got to a point in my life where I realized this is life. And so I move on past things real quick. So people are like, oh my God, what are you going to do, Dave, if you can't run? Well, if I'm also or I'll go to college, or I'll do something else. And this, this isn't my life. So I'm very aware how quick life can take from you. And I've always prepared my mind for the next chapter. And what happened with me was I started this thing called front loading. So when I was young, I used to be a little piece of shit. Like, oh, I'm not good enough, I can't do this, I can't do that. But the second I got my head out of my head, and I realized, man, you can achieve a lot of shit. You get out here, you start moving, you start motivating yourself. You start becoming a self-motivator. So I started front loading. And front loading is because it made me done so much by 47. Because I don't know what tomorrow's going to bring me. So my military resume is fat. I did a lot in the military. I did a lot outside the military. I've made money. I've done almost every race out there, hard race in the world. I've broken pull-up.
Going on 925.
So when these bad times come, and also like when it happened, you have to so you can get a shot. You may not live to be old. What if you do? And you work at when you were able, and you were able to get up early, able to grind. If you front loaded properly, a back half of your fucking life is better. And that's what I did. The second I realized that, man, you are amazing shit, you got to get going. Because at 47, man, you're not going to be able to do this shit. 50, whatever you are. So I front loaded. So all these bad things that happened to me, I said, man, how do you handle this so well? I've done it. I front loaded. I have the money I need, I have the success I need, I have the determination, the willpower, and also the pride in myself. So I wake up every morning, I know because I am. I front loaded perfectly. So I don't care what's taken from me. It could be fucking retired at last game, like 60 points or some shit. He walked off the court. He didn't fucking grind. He ain't some guy who missed the sport or whatever. He walked off. He gave everything he could. Man, when you give what I've given, it will. So you don't be no shit. Which makes me who I am. I'm giving everything. People make you ran on the knees, you take your feet up, you blah, blah, blah. You had 2 heart surgeries, you kept on going. Yep. Sure did. I had so many fun. So but I got it. And buddy, the Lord tell you, you don't take a break now. Hey, you're fun. As long as my knees are halfway work, I got to get on.
And this man's working on my reps, No, it's way harder when you work on someone else's direction.
I was out.
class?
I gave everything.
hard.
I did everything.
That's hard to do.
And
And you're out. The clock got pacer. And you're out. You have 54 minutes. Don't listen too fast. Fool.
I'm not a masochist, I'm not crazy, I'm not this and that. People try to tell me. No, I had something to do. I studied the darkness. You find no answers in the light. None. It's too happy, it's too nice. If we're not even taught how to live in happy. That's what naturally does. Happy moments with the dark times, man. You can't get there unless you put yourself there. Life will take you there. But when you get into those dark moments, that's what people, how do you even imagine reading right to a junior high school? How do you even write like this, man? You motherfucker. I go into such places in my mind.
Sounds like it bias.
Like it's not just physical. When I was growing up,
55 rounds.
I got beat. And I was some stuttering little black kid in all white school. I'm on stage and I gotta say one fucking line in front of fucking 15 people and I walk off stage coming fucked up. All those insecurities and all those fucking things, man. I used to go and cry like, oh my God, man, it's all fucked up. I know, man. That's like, we gotta study this, man. The only way we're gonna get through this is if we study it. So every time I'm in a dark moment in life's around me, physical or just life, I get in it, man, with a pen and paper. I'm like, okay, this fucking sucks. I can feel like I'm losing my shit. Let's fucking study this. Let's come out of this motherfucker genius. You know, I studied the black matter of the mind.
I sat. So, done it for an hour. $1,000 diamonds. We off this till tomorrow. 57 minutes. Fucking wait up, bitch.